Good morning, everybody. Guten Morgen. Because I'm learning German now. Wie geht's, Coffee und Crypto? That means, what's up, Coffee and Crypto? Is it, how are you doing, Coffee and Crypto? What's the pronunciation?
Yeah, it would be, how are you doing?
How are you doing, Coffee and Crypto? There we go. You know, it's a phase.
Or what's, it's more similar to
We're getting into
We're doing good, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you for vocalizing the voice of the people there, T-Shroom. We're about to have a fantastic show. In case you guys hadn't noticed, and you guys watched the show yesterday, we got it right. You know, you gotta take the wins when you get them. Not every time are we right about every little thing, but yesterday, we will say this. We were right yesterday. Bitcoin broke up. It is heading up towards that 20,000, 21,000 potentially, sitting currently around 20,100. We'll keep you guys posted today. Really excited to get Michaël van de Poppe on the show. You know, speaking of German, we thought for a second he was German, and we looked it up. He's actually Dutch, so not the same thing whatsoever. But I'm excited to have him on. He was actually one of the first technical analysts other than Jebb that I got to learn a lot from. So I am super excited to have his take today on the show, talking Bitcoin, talking Ethereum, and also we're going to discuss some other altcoins that he is very, very, very excited about. So you don't want to go anywhere. We're going to continue to discuss what is happening with crypto regulation, namely this bit licensing thing. That is probably the hottest story right now in the crypto world. What is happening with that regulation coming out? We're going to discuss that and more in this show. Couple of announcements I want to make sure you guys know, though, before we get going. If you are a member, and if you're wondering who a member is, it's those green names in chat. But if you are a member, make sure you stay tuned, because at 11:30 after the show, Eastern Standard Time, we'll be having our membership stream. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my fantastic team here. I got T-Shroom over here with the American flag in blue with Gainesville Health and Fitness on the stars.
Right. That's right.
All right, that's
freedom
a
and fitness, baby.
How you doing this morning, T-Shroom?
I'm feeling free and fit, and I'm doing great.
Great.
Better than I deserve, some might say.
We went on a ruck. T-Shroom, myself, and then two other guys went on a ruck last night. My feet are killing me.
But what is a ruck, Tim?
A ruck is a very long hike, and it was rough on the feet. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I also got Smay over here. Smay, Wein get mein Bruder.
So, I'm going to give you one more opportunity to pronounce that correctly.
Wein get's mein Bruder.
Ah, sehr gut. Danke, Tim.
Yeah. I just asked, how are you, my brother? And he said, very good. And I said, yeah. That was probably the easier one to translate there. Yeah, how are you feeling this morning, Smay? Did you go and do a workout last night?
No.
9. It's
9.
Yeah.
9.
No.
9. Not workout. So I did not do that last night because I actually I did some grocery shopping, and then I had to set something up for my lizard, my little Schmaug. I love that guy. He's a cool guy. So
yeah.
Also I'm getting a new bed today, which I'm excited about, because I'm getting like a Japanese floor mattress.
What?
So I'm. I'm slowly turning into more and more of like a hippie, so we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, sleeping on the floor, that's how you do it nowadays.
It's good stuff there.
Did you have an old bed mattress?
I do.
He did, and
You're gonna sell it?
kind of sucked.
Yeah? Do you want it?
Interesting. We can talk about it after the stream.
All right.
Quick, before we get going into the show, quick shout out to Duolingo. We should get them as a sponsor. If anyone from Duolingo is watching this episode, we would love for you to be our sponsor.
Well, I mean, at this point, it doesn't seem like we've gotten very fluent. So.
I would love to welcome anyone in chat to come and learn German with Smay and myself. Pretty soon, we're going to be having these full-out conversations in German. Just kidding. We're not gonna trouble you guys with all that. But I do encourage you guys. It is fantastic. If you've been looking to learn another language, I'm about a week in now. Maybe not quite a week. 5 days in on Duolingo. It is phenomenal.
I think I'm about 3 weeks in.
Yeah, you got a little jump on me. That's so. We're about to jump in, though, to more crypto. If you do not already have your coffee, make sure you grab it. Also, make sure to smash that like button. Yes, we've been having a little bit of fun here, but we're about to jump into some crypto. And if you love that, smash that like. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. And I was critiqued. This morning. I was doing office hours for Club DeFi. A lot of YouTube channels say this, but whenever we say comment down below, someone critiqued and said that's a redundant statement. Down below is the same thing. So do not comment down below about what you love about this show and what you want to see. Comment below just one time. That's fine. If you want to comment more than once, that's completely fine too. Yeah, when you say comment down below, that's redundant.
Why? How?
Down below is the same thing.
Down and below, yeah, same.
But it's a very common expression for crypto, for any YouTuber whatsoever.
That's not necessarily true. And here's why I'll say. Down is a direction, below is a destination. Below is below something, right?
It's true.
Down is the direction, so you're down below.
Down is a direction, below is a preposition. So
Listen, we
come
can
on,
end it
guys.
with this. If you want to comment down below or you just want to comment below,
No, it's
both
comment
of them are
down.
acceptable.
You're telling in the direction.
Here's what I think.
Down below. Because if I just say, hey, comment below, it could be below something on the right or below something on the
if
left.
we're doing foreign languages, you should be commenting down under, right?
Come on, man.
All right. Really quick, before we go there, I just want to give a quick price update to everybody who's in chat. The Dixie right now had been fluttering. It's sitting right now considering breaking out of a symmetrical triangle pattern. I might talk about this a little bit later. Might get Michael's take on this, but it's back up above 114. So keep your eyes on that. We were rallying this morning in crypto with the Dixie falling. Bitcoin sitting right around, we talked about earlier, 20,100, but we do have a red candle on the 4-hourly chart. Ethereum really quickly, we are sitting currently around 1384. Red candle on the 4-hourly chart. Let's do the last one, Cardano, 45 cents, 45.39 cents. It does, though, have a couple red candles over the last 4 hours, also kind of being hit by that resistance zone. We will maybe talk about that a little more with Michael, but if not, we'll talk more tomorrow. That being said, we're going to transition into our market pulse, but I want to start off by letting you guys know what.
So I'm just gonna let you ponder your mistake here.
How could you have done this?
No,
I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe you done this.
I did do it.
9!
How do you say
Okay,
green in
all
German?
right, that's fine. The show's a little out of works. I think the market pulse wasn't as long as it normally is, so that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
I totally forgot about one of the most important parts of this entire show, and that is Smay's reading of the green names.
I'm so disappointed in you. Good grief. This is crazy.
I apologize.
I'm gonna read
what is it again? Es
tut mir leid.
Es tut mir leid.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna read some green names here. Green like my love for the Deutschland. All right, so here we have JoJo, Tyler Main, Gia S, Justin Eubanks, Queen, Eric, Brew, Baker. He brews beer und Brot. Next, here we have Matt C. Shout out to Matt C. We love Matt C. We have Silent. We got, who else we got here? We got Mitch, Crypto Alchemist.
What?
Steve Shrum.
What?
JoJo. I love all you guys.
Is that all of them? There's a lot of names there.
There's a lot of names. I'm working on it. JT Skinner, Daniel J. Dude, honestly, now there's so many green names I get out of breath. My eyes strained.
Eric Brubaker, the Coin Father.
I already said Eric Brubaker.
Josh Denham.
Josh Denham. I love Josh Denham. The Coin Father. Just a shout out to you. Adam Rourke. Shout out to you. Crypto Mini Bike. Shout out to you. Brad Torgeidel. I love Brad Torgeidel.
You get all our blue names too?
And
all those
blue
beautiful
names,
mods?
Shannon Sharp. We got T Shroom. Oh, ew, T Shroom. And then we have Tim Warren.
Did I comment? I don't think I commented.
I know. I just wanted to say.
You just wanted to say "eh" to my name.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Well, "ach" means I.
Oh gosh.
All right. Anyways, guys, this is crazy. Let's get on with the news.
Leave a 1 in chat if you love the German antics, and a 2 in chat if you hate them.
Well,
and
because I'm
here's
going to
the other
continue
thing.
them. So
May, I will
say
make.
that.
There's some beautiful green names in there. If there was one name that used to be green that is no longer, that has just broken your spirit, what would that name be?
What do you mean?
D's nuts.
Ooh, got him.
These nuts.
All right. So now we're in
Get a little too into
transition.
that.
So, I'm glad we got back on track there. Almost forgot the most important part of the show.
Kind of problem.
We're about to jump into our market pulse. It'll be a little quicker today, but today's market pulse is brought to you guys by MEXC, and that is a crypto exchange. You might be wondering, Tim, why are we talking about crypto exchanges? Well, you could have something beautiful like what's on my sweatshirt called Hedge. Hey, that's okay. Not everyone can get Hedge. Also, sometimes it's a little complicated to get set up with. We'll talk more about that later. If you are looking for a good exchange, especially if you're one of our non-American citizens watching the show, we love you guys. MEXC is one of the best exchanges out there. It actually was the top-rated one in Asia and has never had a security breach to this date. So that's one of the biggest things about exchanges. Yes, we need to buy crypto somehow, but we're worried about our security. MEXC is one of the exchanges out there that you can count on. So if you are looking for an exchange to be purchasing crypto today, MEXC might just be the one for you. And if you sign up right now with our link, you can get $25 of USDT airdrop to you and be entered to win $1,000 in a competition. Make sure you check that out, but you have to use our link below. Not down below, just below. With that said, T-Shroom, go ahead and take us into our market pulse.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, then that can mean only one thing, and that's that you are in the market pulse, baby. Let's do it. Going to start off on the Fear and Greed Index, and we have sunk deeper into extreme fear here. Yesterday we were at 21, last week we were at 23, and today we are clocking in at 20, deeper and deeper into the extreme fear. Folks, remember how to play Fear and Greed. You buy the fear, you sell the greed. Generally is the way you want to play it. We're going to go into our first story. Not going to be doing any kind of Fed stuff today. Just skipping it over. It's a Fedless day. Just in, Terra founder Do Kwon transferred 3,313 BTC after an arrest warrant was issued against him, CoinDesk Korea reports. So it looks like he willingly transferred that BTC, and
Nice.
exactly, and his arrest is imminent. So the warrant has been issued there, and it's been a long cat and mouse game with Do Kwon.
Katze und Maus.
Exactly.
Maus und Katze.
Wow.
It seems as though he, a lot of folks think he hasn't actually committed a crime, but the Korean authorities think differently there. Well, that's breaking news. We'll keep moving. We've got some more breaking news as well. FTX wins bid to buy crypto lender Voyager Digital's assets out of bankruptcy. FTX's U.S. bid is valued at approximately $1.4 billion with a B, according to Voyager's press release late Monday Eastern Time. There is Sam Bankman-Fried thinking it all over. FTX was bidding against Wave Financial, so that was the other bidding competitor. I guess Binance fell out by the late stages here in the bidding war, Wave being a digital asset investment firm. So Sam Bankman-Fried buying up, and more than likely, I guess that deal is closed. I don't know exactly the status of the deal, but more than likely he's just added a giant little queue of assets there, to little cache of assets there to his crypto holdings and his company's holdings, and that's just another weapon to use there as FTX continues to try to gain market share over the other large crypto exchanges. Moving into policy, California and New York joined several states ordering crypto lender Nexo to halt yield product. So if you're into Nexo and you've got any kind of funds in Nexo, this is a story you're going to want to pay attention to. Nexo the New York authorities' action specifically accused Nexo of misrepresenting its registration status. Nexo violated the law, and investors trusted falsely claiming that it is licensed and registered platform. So I believe that's also the claim that was levied in California. The states also, including Washington, Maryland, Kentucky, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Vermont, filed individual actions targeting certain yield product producing accounts at Nexo. The lender advertises the accounts as high yield, and California noted the company offered annual interest rates as high as 36%. So really, they're in hot water here. If you're not new, if you're experienced in the crypto world, you probably look at a 36 year-over-year return rate, APY, you're probably thinking that's not the highest I've seen. When you look at farming and when you look at pools, there's definitely higher rates out there. So the real egregious kind of crime that they've committed here is that they falsely claimed that Nexo is licensed and registered platform in these states, and that's where the issue is arising. And so that's unfortunate for Nexo. Again, if you're into Nexo, you're going to want to, really, really consider an exit strategy here, not financial advice. But we don't want Nexo to go the way of Celsius and Three Arrows Capital. But, a move like this in two of the country's largest populated states is not a good look. Well, moving into a more optimistic note, Cardano whales go on accumulation spree on another big day. Another big day that is kind of, again, kind of keeping in this theme. It's a little bit difficult for traders to understand, but we're going to do our best here with this article. Today, September 27th, is another big day for the Cardano blockchain as Plutus V2 is anticipated to go live. The Plutus V2 cost model network upgrade is scheduled to take place at Epoch 366, or on approximately September 27th at 9:45 p.m. UTC. Now, you might be asking, T-Shroom, I live on the East Coast. What does that translate to? Well, I've got it for you right here. 4:45 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. So that's pretty big. Tim, have you been anticipating this Plutus V2, this big Cardano end of the kind of the Vasil hard fork here?
It is day 5, so that's a big thing. The problem is I'm not saying the price can't go up, but I would say if Cardano price goes up, it's not going to be because of the Vasil hard fork. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be because the demand on Bitcoin is going up, and therefore because the rest of the crypto space is rallying, Cardano will as well. I think the time and place for a Vasil hard fork increase has come and gone. It is gone. I think in the future, because of its use case, because of what the Vasil hard fork brings us, Cardano could become such a great altcoin that it rises because of the fundamental reasons. But the way that Ethereum had a rise before ETH 2.0, we never got that for Vasil, and I think that time has come and gone. When I saw the headline of this article, I was very confused because really quickly, go to my screen, Smay. If you're looking at Cardano, there is no volume. So when they say there's whales accumulating more Cardano, I'm gonna have to question that article and say, what? I don't see anywhere where whales are accumulating more Cardano. I would love to see it. Maybe there's something on chain. The next time we get Kelly on, maybe I can ask him about it. But what I'm seeing on the charts, I'm not seeing that article really have any truth to it. I'm questioning it. And you guys know I love Cardano. I love it long term. But I'm not going to be shying away from the fact that Cardano is not sitting in the best spot in terms of price action right now. Its fundamentals are going to be beautiful long term, but price analysis wise, Cardano is not special right now. Good news, we're in a falling wedge, but we absolutely could get rejected right here, come back down to this flat support level at 41 cents or whatever, and then find our breakout later down the road. But there's no guarantee we do that either. So I'm a little curious about the weight and the sources and what went into this article's writing. It looks like something that someone would wake up and see and think, oh, that's great. But when you're examining the coin itself, you're like, I don't know how true that statement was.
Yeah, absolutely. You couldn't have said it better. We're going to move on to the SEC fines Tether former auditor $1.5 million for improper professional conduct. So just to note here, the SEC is not fining Tether. They're fining an auditing firm, and we're going to learn about that a little bit more right now. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has fined Tether's former auditing firm, Friedman LLP, to the tune of $1.5 million, according to an order issued Friday. According to the SEC, Friedman LLP failed to design and perform appropriate audit procedures in its work with grocery chain iFresh, and also did not exercise professional skepticism and due professional care in its handling of another unnamed company's audit. So using a lot of tax professional legal language there, we can only assume that this journalist that's writing this for Decrypt has kind of knows what they're talking about here. But while the order doesn't mention Tether outright, the stablecoin issuer retained Friedman LLP as an auditor from May 2017 to January 2018 before ending the relationship. So Tether definitely, falling even closer under the microscope here of the SEC as, one of their major auditing firms that they've partnered with in the future is kind of coming under fire. And again, it's not for what they had, how they had managed Tether, it was for how they managed the grocery chain iFresh. But kind of the case in point here is the SEC is going to be taking a look much deeper into the auditing firm's practices. And, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And just because the SEC has got them on this grocery chain, they're going to be definitely asking questions of how this auditing firm handled Tether and if they were scrupulous enough. And this article leads us to believe that probably they weren't. How that reverberates into the crypto world and how, the ripple effects, we don't yet know, but, probably a better time to be in USDC than in Tether. But, again, not financial advice, and just a quick, from the hip little comment there from your boy T Shroom. Nothing more, nothing less. Moving along, Polkadot looks to 10x its transaction speed in some new updates. Let's dive into this. The network plans to achieve this by shortening the parachain's block time to 6 seconds and increasing each block's block space by a factor of 5 to 10. So some big changes there. And they'll also, another development in the roadmap is parathreads, which will impose the ease of building on Polkadot. So, always trying to become more and more marketable to dApps and other devs who would want to build on your blockchain. Polkadot is doing just that. Also, within nominating pools, the nomination pool would be a major upgrade to Polkadot's staking system, allowing users to create staking pools that others can join. In the end, the new update would allow smaller nominators to partake in the staking system. And then last but not least, another development, Polkadot's plans to upgrade its governance to make it as decentralized as possible with the Polkadot Fellowship. So definitely a lot of upgrades here, but the chief of all being that it's going to 10x its transaction speed. Obviously, that's yet to go live. That's yet to be successfully implemented. But these plans are pretty audacious because, if I'm not mistaken, Polkadot was pretty fast to begin with, especially compared to Ethereum. But this is definitely a hopeful and welcome headline from those who are holding Polkadot. I believe I've got a little bit of Polkadot. Smay, do you still have DOT?
No.
Okay.
I really like DOT, and I'll tell you what, this is really cool. I feel like DOT, we talk about how Cardano does it the right way, but Cardano's always in the news. One of the things that the reason we don't talk about DOT very often is they don't do a lot to always get in the news. And I feel like Polkadot is one of the projects that's just underneath, it's just kind of flowing along, and it's keeping its head down, it's chugging along, it's getting stuff done. It's a great project. They're just not always in the news, not very flashy, so sometimes people sleep on them. I love DOT. I think DOT is one of the ones going to be here for a very long time. I think it is a very special project. So we should definitely talk about DOT more often. We just, again, because they're not as splashy in the news, they don't get talked about, but we need to change that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap up our market pulse. I've been T Shroom, and I really appreciate you watching and tuning in. We go live every day at 10 a.m., and we love to have you and see you on board. And if you become a member, we'll shout out your name at the beginning of the show. And we'll never forget to do that or do it late.
Well,
we'll always do it on time.
If I forget, I had two great co-hosts that remind me of my mistakes.
That's right. We are two great co-hosts. Actually, more so, I think I'm greater.
You are greater.
Wow.
Okay, super. You are super. We're about to jump into our discussion. I think Michael is here. Is he not, Smay?
Yes.
What is going on, Michael? I am so glad to have you on the show today.
Hey man, how are you doing?
Doing
Thanks
good,
for having
man.
me on. And what I want to say about DOT, it is definitely one I'm looking at a lot too. Same as with Cosmos, both projects are great.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll get later on in the show. I'm gonna ask you about all the altcoins you're really excited about. But I told the audience earlier, and we're about to get our question of the day. But I told them I'm super excited to get to talk with you because when I was first learning technical analysis, you were one of the first people that I really began to learn a lot. Because there's a time, like during 2021, it seemed like every article out there, when you're scrolling, it was like, well, expert analyst Michael van de Poppe says, and so I got to read all these articles about you, and now I get to talk with you and have you on the show. So I am super excited. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning.
I mean, thanks for that introduction, man. I don't really know what I have to say now, but yeah, it's cool that you've been watching me, and I hope I can still bring you value. But thanks for having me on the show, man, once again.
Yes. Well, before we jump into that absolutely amazing technical analysis we're about to get here in just a couple of minutes, we first have to do maybe the second most important thing. Most important thing every day is green names, and that is my bad for screwing that up. The second most important thing, though, is the question of the day. T-Shroom, what is our question?
Tim, the question of the day, and Smay, you do not need to go to my screen for this, but the question of the day is, would you rather live in Germany or France for all of eternity? Let it sink in. I'll read it again. Gosh. Would you rather live in Germany or France for all of eternity? Go ahead, and I'll throw it over to our guest.
Yeah. Michael, how about what would you prefer?
Well, I'm from the Netherlands, man, and we as Dutch people don't really like German people, so the answer is quite easy for me.
Oh, that's rough. That's
There you
rough.
go.
Yeah, it's got to be French, but French people are also like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just stop talking here, I guess, but I prefer France.
It's the which is the worst one? Yeah, I mean, I have to go Germany. I'm learning German right now. I feel like the countryside. I would love. It's not like the big cities in Germany. I want to go see. I want to go see the countryside. I want to go a beautiful, beautiful country. So that I'm gonna go Germany. What about you, Smay?
Oh, I mean, clearly I'm gonna go Germany, but you know, it's all about picking the lesser of two evils. But I'd definitely pick Germany. So
Yeah.
Why? Why are the two evils? I can understand from Michael's perspective.
well, not from my perspective. I was more so saying from Michael's perspective.
Oh, okay.
But no, for me, it's like a no-brainer because I can't stand France.
Gotcha.
So definitely Germany.
And
Why can't you
is that?
stand France, Smay?
It's just been something since childhood. I don't know. I've just never really liked. I really just.
Childhood trauma.
It's like a fear of snakes type of thing.
Listen. He refuses to eat French fries. I know that.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, really, I don't know what it is, but it's like every time, because like, I was homeschooled, we learned a lot of history. Whenever I learned about French history, I'd always get disappointed. I don't know why.
Okay, makes
But
sense.
anyways,
What about
Not
you,
a big
T-Shroom?
Napoleon
T-Shroom.
fan.
Kind of pulling it all together.
Not a big Charles de Gaulle fan. There's some heroes there. All right. I would say that I would much rather live in Germany.
wow.
Yeah.
Just because I pine for the Rhine. Let's move on.
Oh, I love
I
it.
don't know what that means. All right.
Well, we're about to jump in and talk some technical analysis, but today's discussion portion is brought to you guys by Hedge. We discussed them a little earlier. You guys see I'm wearing the sweatshirt. We love Hedge. If you guys are wondering what Hedge is, it's a company that allows you to actually get paid in crypto. Yes, you can connect your paychecks from your business that you work at and get paid directly in crypto. It is phenomenal. It gets you, if you don't like exchanges whatsoever and you want to get around them and save yourself some fees, you absolutely should get Hedge right now. Link in the description down below. And I believe, what is it? It's like $20. You get, is it $20 of Bitcoin?
You get $10 of Bitcoin
$10
for
Bitcoin?
converting $40 to your paycheck.
So free Bitcoin. Also, again, it's only for United States citizens at this point. So I think it is coming very soon to the UK. It's coming very soon to Canada. So if you are Canadian or you are in the UK, look forward to that coming to you soon. But if you live in the United States, you absolutely want to take advantage of it if you are allowed to. And if you're wondering how it's used, I did see comments in chat saying it's really simple. But in case you did not know how, we have a video we posted last week telling you how to get signed up for Hedge step by step to make it as simple as possible. Go make sure to sign up with the link down below. Now, Michael, let's go ahead and jump in here. I want to start with the biggest of them all, the granddaddy of crypto, and that is Bitcoin. I know you're going to look at some charts, but I also want to get your take. What are your thoughts about the macro outlook for Bitcoin, especially when we're looking at all this pressure with the Fed? We're looking at incoming regulation. What is your macro outlook on Bitcoin and the price action of it? And also, what are you seeing on the charts to either kind of confirm all that stuff or it's confusing and we need to keep an eye out for certain points?
I think most of the confusion lies into what you hear in the news and what the Fed is doing for retail traders. So I think that if you hear Powell speaking, then you literally feel like the end of the world is coming next to us. And then you hear all the stories about inflation, energy crisis, Russia, and all those topics, which puts you a little bit away of what the markets should actually be telling you, and makes it confusing to start trading or investing into these times, I guess. But when we look at Bitcoin and risk-on assets, and then I call Bitcoin a risk-on assets as they used to tend to move with indices, I think that right now we get into a territory where the dollar is getting towards at least a short-term top, which means that with the Fed, we have had the hikes last week, 75 pips. We are going to see more hikes of them coming up in the coming months too. And actually, he gave a path of what we can expect in Q4 and what could be the end of the hikes. There's a fly going around here, so apologies for that. So they are expecting to go towards 4.5%, and the yields have been running towards that already, which is the return you get on a government bond. So that policy is coming to an end. And why is that? In the meantime, other currencies have been falling down quite heavily. So we have seen Japan taking measurements to fight a strong dollar. The euro will do that. The pound will do that. Next to that, the economic rates and economic numbers are getting worse and worse. And that's why you have to look out for this week with GDP coming in and the PCE inflation coming in. Inflation actually is dropping down already while everyone is still discussing it. So if you take the commodity part, everything is falling down. Conclusion is that if you look at the markets, I think that the dollar is going to reverse quite soon, or at least in the coming months, which means that Bitcoin and risk on assets will do well, which is the contrary of what you think you should be doing. I think that most of the people are looking at being safe, but actually at this point, it makes more sense to start looking into longs on Bitcoin based on the macro thesis, based on the fact that we are down 80%, based on the fact that on-chain analysis is showing us that it's maybe even the most undervalued ever, and also on the fact that sentiment is comparable to a funeral. So based on these things, the pain is on the upside, as nobody's expecting it, and at least we can have a short-term relief like we have been seeing in 2015, 2016 when the dollar was topping out too. So that's what I'm looking at. If we look at the broader scope, I think that if economics are going to have a lag until the crisis happens of around 2 to 3 years, we can still have one more run taking place, or one more bull run, and then the big economic financial crisis is going to happen. But that is still pure speculation. But right now, I would rather sit into crypto than having dollar.
When you say one more bull run, are you talking about a bull run that sets new all-time highs, or are you talking potentially back up to 30,000, maybe 40,000? What does when you're saying one more bull run before an economic crisis, what does that look like?
It is one more bull run that you can compare to the dot-com bubble. So for your information, the dot-com bubble was the one in 2000 where the Nasdaq collapsed by 80%. Which is comparable, as in internet was being used during that period a lot, but nobody was really making money. The valuation of the dot-com bubble was around 10 to 12 trillion. If you calculate it for the current moment, then it would have been 30 trillion if you adjust with inflation over the years. So the actual peak we have seen last year on Bitcoin or on crypto was, I guess, 2.5 to 3. Which means that the market overall is still very small. And that's why I believe that if the real estate market and the debt market is going to fall, it usually happens like 2 to 3 years after the Fed stops hiking. So 2005, 2006, they started doing it as well. 2008 to 2010, we had the crisis. So in that theory, we still have 2 to 3 years to come. We have one more run comparable to the dot-com bubble. Then we collapse heavily with the entire economy. And that's what I'm looking at right now with the markets, with the halvings coming in and also with the regulation coming in, which most of the people use as a negative argument, but it's actually positive.
What can you go a little bit more? I love that. But I want you to go a little deeper into it. Why do people see it negative, and why should it be seen as a positive? Let's dive that a little deeper into that thought.
It goes on many levels, though. Like if you ask crypto enthusiasts about regulation, they probably are going to be negative about it because they feel like they want to have pure decentralization. However, I think that the entire world is not ready for pure decentralization because of 80% of the world is just too stupid to use it. Now, if we take full centralization, that's what we currently have, that is completely failing. So we have to have something in between. And in order to do so, in order to be able to use crypto in your real world or in the mainstream economy, or in just the economy in itself, I'm not understanding why I say mainstream economy, but whatever. In the economy, then you need some like windows between you can act. So you need regulation so we can get rid of scams. We can get some KYC in, so it's actually adaptable for small businesses, but also institutions to start either investing into crypto, which is done by institutions, and then second, by small businesses, they can use it as a payment method or anything else. And that's the first step. And then after that, we can start talking about, okay, we've got the first framework for regulation, which is consisting of Bitcoin and probably Ether as well. How are we going to implement NFTs into that? Because That's the next layer. How are we going to implement DeFi? But in order to progress and to get mainstream adoption, that was the one I was looking for. In order to get mainstream adoption, you need a framework of regulation within you can start working, because full decentralization is something the world cannot actually take on right now. So that's why we need those windows to actually, or those frameworks to actually be adaptable. So regulation and the way that we're going to get it in Europe, in the US, opens the gates towards the institutions to adapt to or adopt Bitcoin. And that's why you see Fidelity jumping in. You see all the big funds jumping in. That's actually going to be the trigger why we're going to see a new run. And that's also maybe the same as what we have been seeing in 2017. The top of Bitcoin 2017 was the launch of CME futures. So why not we're going to have it in 2024, 2025, when new regulations kick in or a new ETF is going to come, that's going to be the top, as hype always takes the market away. So yeah, I'm positive on regulation.
Yeah, and it's an interesting concept, because what you're trading is you're trading the ability to potentially be robbed for the ability to be controlled and to be centralized. And that's the concept we're talking about here. If we want to continue down the route of decentralization, hey, yeah, no one can control you, but there are bad players in the field that can easily hack and steal and take advantage of. The question is that worth, that negativity? Are we going to trade that for a little bit of security but come with centralization? It's a question I actually want all of the chat to give me their answer on. I'm curious about you, Michael. It sounds like you're going to lean, you said you're a little positive, but would we prefer for crypto and specifically Bitcoin to continue to trade at low levels for a long time but keep heavy decentralization? Or would we rather get a little bit of regulation in here? It makes it a little harder for retail investors as a whole, except for us earlier adopters, but we get the price to go ahead and skyrocket. Like Michael's saying there, institutions are waiting for regulation to come in space. Would we rather go ahead and just get the regulation, get a little centralization in here, and watch the price begin to climb, or would we rather stay down low, keep our decentralization? Doesn't really matter what we want. I mean, it's going to happen. What's going to happen versus what we want is two different things, but I'm curious to know what people in chat would like to see. And Michael, I'm curious about you as well. It sounds like that's the direction you're going, but would you prefer to just go ahead and get some regulation in here, get the institutional money, or would you, if you could be the one to decide, would you rather the price stay low and the decentralization stay?
It's
a hard question.
That's a difficult one, man.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, everyone should have the choice for himself. So if you want to be decentralized, or if you want to adopt in, or you don't want, that should be your own decision. However, we are living in a world where we need to live next to each other. And then you get the economic system that we have right now. So in that way, for me personally, I'm favoring the first one, in which we get regulation. So maybe the world can get more beautiful, as in people still have more options to choose from within a certain framework, in which, for instance, if you want to get a mortgage rate, you can get the best one across the world, and not someone sitting next to you who decides for you which one you should be having. So therefore, minorities are not going to get the best option like other people have. In that way, I'm favoring regulation. But I also know that I'm giving up my privacy. And in order for that, I just have to focus more on that topic for my personal needs. And that's something that someone should decide for themselves, how far they want to go with that. But I think in order to improve the world, we need regulation to actually make the world better, I guess. So yeah, I favor the first one.
Yeah.
But it's a debate on so many levels that you can't really answer within 5 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, correct. And the good/bad news is we don't get a say. We don't have control. More than likely, I'm saying more than likely, it's a done deal. Regulation is coming. The question, I think Matt C just put it also well right there. He said we need regulation, just the right kind. But yeah, go ahead.
If I might break in, the funny story is if you maybe ask someone about the period when internet started, they had a visionary view too, and the visionary view people got rid of it during the time, because you have to adopt towards a system that everybody can use it. So privacy got erased even more, while it was not really the vision that people really had when they started building on internet. or with internet. The same goes for blockchain. We've got a pure futuristic view that we want decentralization, but in order to make it work, we have to get a little bit rid of that view skewed towards centralization a bit more to make it work for everyone. And I think that's what we're currently fighting or seeing in all the groups that we have. That's the ongoing debate.
Yeah. Man, we went deeper into that topic than I thought we would, but I love it. I'm so glad we went there. Loved getting your thoughts on that one, Michael. Let's move it. Let's look at some charts here. What are you seeing on Bitcoin charts and maybe even some corresponding charts? So, for example, I heavily look at the DXY when I'm going back and forth with Bitcoin. The DXY is sitting a little up this morning. It's coming back above 214. But what are you looking at right now when you're analyzing the price on Bitcoin, the Bitcoin chart? What are you looking at that tells you, again, you're bullish now, I guess, moving forward? What points are we looking at on the chart to kind of confirm that?
I don't know if you want me to screen share.
Yeah, let's go.
But
yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'll just have to move you a little bit because then I can show it to you. Give
The
me a
old
second
window
so that
shuffle.
Maybe you can take over for 1 sec.
Yeah, while he's doing that, everybody who's been listening, I love the I saw the chat. A lot of people answered that. We had some mixed reviews. I think I saw a little more people saying like, hey, let's get the regulation in there. But if you guys are loving this video so far, make sure smash that like, subscribe to the channel, and we're about to jump onto these charts.
Yeah. So here we go. I've just put it on here. There's a few things that I'm watching currently on the markets. First of all, I'm looking at the dollar, which we have been discussing a little bit. But what I'm looking at is the total market cap here, which is the weekly time frame that you're seeing. And the orange line is the 200-week MA, which is being used in stocks and indices markets as a very interesting indicator to look for support, resistance, but also to define whether you are into a bull or bear market. So right now we can see that we are moving around it for the third time in the past 4 years, 5 years, 4 years. And we are reclaiming it as we fell beneath last week due to CPI numbers. Now we are reclaiming it, and that's why we've seen a swift move today on Bitcoin. So coming days, it's going to be important about GDP. It's going to be important what PCE inflation is going to do, because then we're going to get an impact on the DXY, which is at 114, close to a top, as it feels like it's a parabolic move at this point. So I'm actually looking at a case where we're going to drop down. And I think that looking at the DXY, it's getting towards some resistance points here. All the technical analysis are also looking at the points at 115 and 117. But ultimately, if you look at the larger scope, it is just going absolutely mayhem. So what I earlier said about the government stepping in, that is most likely what we're going to see being reflected in the DXY index too. And that is going to be a trigger for crypto to actually start waking up. Same goes for the yields. If you really see this falling down, alongside with the dollar, you'll probably see money being rotated from government bonds towards assets like indices, but also Bitcoin. So I'm watching these two charts. Then I'm also watching whether we can reclaim the total market cap on the weekly time frame and then the 200-week MA. And then when we're looking at Bitcoin, we can technically say that right now, preferably I want to see the weekly close above 19.2 again. And if we do, we are still closing above the all-time high of 2017. And then we are ready to continue this sort of like bounce, but most likely can have some relief rally. And then I'm actually looking at a very big breakout, because anything beneath the level here at 20.3 towards 22.5, there's nothing in between. So if we have some period of consolidation here, and next week or this week with PCE and GDP is going to be worse and the DXY is going to drop, we probably are going to have a very swift move towards 22.5. And then people are going to discuss the bull market all of a sudden again. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Finding support at 19.2, lower time frames 19.5. If we do, and the numbers are going to be worse and the DXY is going to fall, most likely we're going to go to 22.5, and then the gates are open for further upwards momentum.
Michael, I got a couple questions. My first one, based off of what we're talking about right now, what we're looking at, would you say, are you in the camp of believing that the Bitcoin bottom is actually already in, 17.6 was the bottom, or do you think we are going to be exploring maybe down towards 15,500, maybe down to 13 or 11,000? What are your thoughts about the bottoming act of Bitcoin?
You know, the thing is that The topics are 12K, 14K. Those are going to be the support. So those are the levels that we see on a weekly time frame and the higher time frames. The fact that everyone is discussing that topic most likely is going to leave it behind. So it's very comparable to the retest we should have been doing in 2018 at 3.2K, or we should have been testing 1K there. I don't really count on it too much, except if we get a black swan or something.
Yeah.
I'm actually finding more arguments at this point to suspect that we're going to test 30K instead of 12K. So
Wow.
with the current price action, as we have been seeing on the DXY, which is very comparable to what we have been witnessing here in 2015, 2016, which is the same vertical price action as we have been seeing, the moment it starts to top out, you will actually be seeing Bitcoin starting to show strength. Oh, there we go. I'll just put it up as a log. We're going to have this accumulation period like we have been seeing in 2015. So I'm not arguing for a bull cycle, but given that we're holding this level, we don't actually have to go way more down. It's actually granting an opportunity to dive into the markets, especially since the dollar is getting into a parabolic run, ready to top out quite soon, and then we can have such a relief rally, probably before we get the bull market on again. So at this point, at these price levels, we are into a bear market for 1.5 years on altcoins. I think you should be way more interested into longs than shorts at this point. But the sentiment is bearish, so people look for shorts, and I think that you should be the opposite at this point.
Yeah. I always love when I get guests on here that disagree with takes that I've had, because that means I get to grow and I get to expand my knowledge and think about things differently. But it always feels good when they agree. And that, I love what you talked about, is what we're looking at right here. There's more of a case for 30, and with the concept of we got some pain coming. We know that. Jerome Powell said pain is coming. We're going to have some more interest rate hikes. We're still trying to fix this. But now that we know that, why didn't we drop down lower? Why aren't we dropping right now? We have all this stuff beginning to bake in because smart money knows to invest early on when things happen, and it's black swan events that bring these big dips. We'll still see. I mean, there's still that chance to go lower, but that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one reasoning it out that way, that now that we understand what Jerome Powell and the Fed's outlook looks like over the next year, it allows smart investors to go ahead and start pricing that stuff in, and we'll see if something changes. Michael, I have another question for you when it comes to the Dixie. Go to my screen here real quick, Smay. And I know that you were talking about how there's a chance we reverse. If I were to go out to the weekly chart, for example, I've been watching the Dixie, and let me go to the daily chart. Weekly might be a little too far out. I've been talking about, our channel knows here, we've been talking about this broadening wedge kind of happening with the Dixie, where, of course, it's a wedge, it's a rising wedge, but it's broadening out. And we're getting super close to hitting that peak, that red line. We didn't quite do it, but I was looking at it this morning, and there is a chance, and it looks like we're currently working right at the resistance level, that what we could be seeing right now is a bull pennant. And when I extrapolate this over and I gave it a price prediction outlook, this gives us a price prediction all the way up to 118.79. Let's go ahead and just round it up to 0.8. So there are some, I agree with you, there are certain things on the chart saying potentially we could have the Dixie reverse. Are you seeing this bull pennant? Do you disagree with it on the Dixie? What are your thoughts about what I'm kind of showing right now?
No, I mean, I can't disagree with the fact that the DXY is actually going up at this point. So the trend is up. However, what are we looking at in the coming days? First of all, we got Lagarde speaking again tomorrow, which is the president of the ECB. But on Thursday, we got GDP coming in for the US, which is probably going to be worse than expected. And then the third quarter in a row, we're going to have negative numbers, which means for Powell at least, we get a confirmed recession. And the more of those numbers are coming in, the more strength will be lost for the DXY, as the Fed has to start pivoting, or the chances are going to be there. Then on Friday, we also got PCE inflation. So I think that the DXY is most likely going to continue moving today and tomorrow. Okay. And then on Thursday, depending on the GDP and PCE, we're going to get a reaction. I think trading the DXY has more to do with macroeconomics at this point. And we are basically all moving due to that. Yeah. So, yes, we are still running up, but I think the last 2 days are going to be a key indicator for what the markets are going to do. And I'm actually betting a little bit more on seeing worse numbers, or it's going to be this time, or it's going to be in 2 to 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And then the DXY is definitely going to have a very harsh correction. And I'm not saying that the DXY is going to fall like crazy, but at least fall back a few percentage, in which we are going to see relief on the markets for indices and crypto.
I'm curious. You said those numbers. Maybe you're talking about a future week. T-shirt. When do those numbers come out? When does inflation numbers? CPI and then PCE.
So PCE comes out Friday.
This Friday.
Yep, at 8:30.
And Euro
Okay.
CPI.
And the Euro CPI. Okay, you're talking about Euro CPI. And then the US dollar CPI comes out the 13th.
Correct.
Right. All right. So these are dates. So this Thursday. So we're talking about here in 2 days, and Friday this latest week, which we'll talk about that here in a little bit with us living in Florida and this Hurricane Ian coming through.
GDP's on Thursday.
That'll be
Thursday.
good. Okay, that'll be good. A GDP on Thursday, and then PCE on Friday, Euro CPI on Thursday, and then we'll wait 2 weeks for the US dollar. All right, good stuff. Man, I love this. Michael, we're gonna have to get you on more often. I love this interview so far. Let's transition. I know I talked about we were gonna discuss Ethereum. I'm gonna change direction a little bit because we've talked about Ethereum enough, and Ethereum's kind of doing its own thing. I want to jump right into some altcoin discussion, and I know we had a lot of audience members who are very curious. What are some of your favorite altcoins? I know we talked about a little about DOT, and you mentioned some others. I know from talking to other people, you're big on Link, Chainlink. What are some of your favorite altcoins? And let's choose a couple of them and discuss them for the next couple of minutes.
Right now, I'm saying it for a few years already. I'm betting, or why am I betting? I'm just liking Chainlink, Cosmos, Polkadot, and I think a bit of Avalanche.
Okay.
Those are the 4 that I'm mostly favoring at this point. I still have my smaller bets, but I feel uncomfortable telling those onto such a big audience. So the bigger ones are those, in which Chainlink also has SmartCon this week. So I'm actually actively trading it. But I think the ecosystem needs to consist of layer 1s. So Cosmos has been proving itself. DOT is slowly starting to prove itself, but they lack of marketing, except for Cosmos, which has Cosmoverse right now, with some crazy people performing on the platform on the podium there. But I think those are the projects that I really enjoy at this point, next to Ether, of course.
Right. Well, I'm gonna do Smay's biggest fan, JT Skinner, a favor, and I'm gonna say, I would love, Michael, to take a look at your Chainlink chart and see what you're looking. I know you said you're trading that actively. Would you mind showing us that chart and breaking down what you're seeing there?
Up to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, 1 second. I have to remove you again.
Yeah, I like those picks. I like
those
Atom,
are good
Polkadot. I'm a little less convinced by Avalanche just because of some of the revelations behind their legal team.
Yeah, but we talked about that.
Ago.
I think that's going to be something that might, and maybe it's still relevant. I think here in a couple of months/years, all that story is just going to be like, all right, whatever. That's,
Sure.
Gone.
Sure, very well could happen.
That's true. Yeah, but I'm curious.
I mean,
to see this.
on the arguments about Avalanche, if I have to make a list of those 4, Avalanche is definitely on the 4th place. I just believe that we need to consist of solid layer 1s to make the blockchain ecosystem work. So that's why I'm primarily focused on those. But I think that if you look at the technology, Polkadot and Atom are 2 that are definitely undervalued heavily at this point, and those have been missing the entire bull market last time too. So Chainlink, I mean, if you just vision the entire Burj Khalifa, then this chart is probably it.
Great comparison.
But that's like crypto at this point. So if we are looking at it right now, we're just seeing some momentum being built up going into the SmartCon event. I hope it's not going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I think it won't. There's lots of fit regarding the Chainlink going on. But ultimately, if you look at a bottoming structure like the past few bull markets, how they or bear markets, how they bottom out, this is what you want to see. So you're seeing a solid period of approximately 4 months taking place now, in which we are just going sideways. And in that case, the ultimate trigger, or the strength that we're showing, the ultimate trigger is that we need to break $9. And I think quite soon we will. And when we will break $9, all the triggers go off for the people shorting Chainlink, causing another volatile move to take place. And then you can easily see numbers going even towards 16 to $20 because of the shorts getting trapped and liquidated and market sentiment changing. But if you look at market cycle, then you can definitely argument that we're currently just bottoming out and looking into a period of accumulation at this point. And the Bitcoin pair is even worse. It has been into a bear market for approximately 2 years now, which means that what I said earlier about Bitcoin, Chainlink is into the same category. You don't really want to look for investment shorts or swing shorts. You want to look for investment thesis here. And if you think about DeFi overall, you need an oracle. So there's lots of FUD going around DeFi, but DeFi is not going to go away. It has some challenges, but if we are going to build DeFi, then Chainlink is going to be the one that you should be having in your portfolio if you believe in it. So these prices here are definitely the ones to look at, as it's looking at accumulation and buyers stepping in. So it's a very, very easy going forward analysis, I guess.
Go to my screen here real quick, Smay. I had done some a little while ago. This chart, I just popped this up. I looked up Chainlink. I had already drawn this a while ago. We just broke out. I must have done this somewhere back in August because I made this point. We had a symmetrical triangle kind of forming. The blue line is the support. The red line is the resistance. And I said, we got to decide, are we gonna break bullish out of the symmetrical triangle pattern and then decide, are we going to kind of, I can extrapolate this yellow line a little farther over to that little point right there. Now we're dealing with an ascending triangle potentially on Chainlink, and that level, that flat level around $9.39, you round up to 40 cents to $3.99, $9.40. If we can get above it, look at this fixed range volume profile. There's just not a whole lot of volume. Maybe there's a little bit of stumbling around $10 or so, but that level you were talking about, getting up towards 13, 14, 15, 16, that's when the volume starts picking up. There's this like this just valley. We're talking about mountains and valleys on the volume. We got over the hump here. We hit the peak. We are rolling right now. And that conference, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of attention coming to Chainlink. If we can jump over $9 and what is that, 40 cents or so, there's a good chance what Michael's saying is very true. We could rally almost all the way up to $13 before we start to get a whole lot of resistance. So Chainlink is definitely looking very interesting on the charts. Good call there, Michael. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, if we correct that $9.40 level, as you have been showing, I think you're going to have a very comparable move to what we have been seeing with reserve rights and XRP. Those have been breaking some important levels too, and then it starts to over accelerate. So shorts are getting liquidated, people are jumping into longs for breakouts, so the sentiment starts to switch, and then you usually get a very vertical move, and that's what I'm expecting to see across markets. And for Chainlink, for instance, you therefore see a flip from $9.40 probably going to result into a run towards $15.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm looking. I had JT Skinner ask me to look at this. Okay, go to my screen here real quick, Smay. He asked if people could see the speakers. This is SmartCon 2022 for Chainlink. Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google. Oh, not even going to try that one. Well, I'm not going to try that one either. Oh, there's a lot of names here I'm not going to try. Holy cow. Old SBF's going to be there. That's a fun one. Out of curiosity, this was not where I was planning on going with this. Michael, what is your thoughts about Sam Bankman-Fried? There's been a lot of things coming out that potentially he is a bad character in the space that is an enemy of decentralization. What are your thoughts about Sam Bankman-Fried?
Oh, man. I still have got a few days left as me being sponsored by FTX, but
all right. Well, we'll get you back after that goes over, and we'll get the answer.
I mean, what I want to say is that there's some propaganda going around that he's saving the markets, but I hear stories that it's actually not true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have to pick CZ or Sam Bankman, I think CZ is definitely the one to pick.
Wow. Well, so how do you feel about FTX winning the bid to get Voyager assets today?
That's what he wants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to buy companies. He wants to gain wealth. That's fine. but the tricks for it are a little bit tricky, I guess.
Yeah, and you don't have to say anything about this, Michael, because you have the sponsorship. Don't want to cost you, but the speculation coming out about his...
Just look up where the Ethereum bottom until now actually was. There was there was an Ethereum bunch of Ethereum that had a liquidation price across or around that actual level. And if you dive deep into that, you know which parties were chasing that actual liquidation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, for people who didn't know, like, there's a relationship potentially between him and Senator Schumer on that bit licensing. Again, I don't know enough to go into depth on it. These are things coming out, and we'll let you guys know as we get going. But yeah. I'm sitting here with Sam Bankman-Fried. I'm not ready to say he is the villain that a lot of people think he is full out, but I'm definitely not looking at him as a hero, and I'm kind of keeping my eye on that whole situation. I don't know enough at this time to make a clear discussion. I mean, I think it would be so horrible. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt for a second. It'd be horrible if we all thought he was this evil person and treated him that way, and in reality, he wasn't. The rumors, the things that we're hearing are just rumors. But at the same time, they're strong enough, and there's so much going on that it's like, hey, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to this and just assume Sam Bankman-Fried is this hero. So it is something. Let's keep our eyes on what is happening there.
The point is also, do you hear the same stories about CZ?
No, you don't.
No. Yeah, it's good.
But they are being
stories are not coming out of thin air.
Yeah, they are being investigated by the SEC though. That story has kind of dissolved away. The Binance, but we'll see.
Well, let's. I think we have time. One more. What was the other one you said? Let's see, because you talked to 4 of them. Did you say Cosmos?
Yup.
Can we take a look at your Cosmos charts? Well, I know you said you were big on that one. Let's do the Cosmos, and then we'll close it out here.
All right, here we go. Cosmos is a little bit different because it just had that event. Or is still going on. I'm not sure it's happening right now, or it was at least happening yesterday, which means that probably what we have been seeing, this is a chart that I've got a lot of things on, but we have been seeing this hype going into Cosmos first because people were expecting a change in the token economics, etc. So lots of hype is happening on Cosmos. Probably after the event, if nothing is going to be announced, we'll be seeing it going back to where it should be for now, which is accumulating. So then you're looking at these regions. If something big is going to be announced, we're probably going to attack the highs, and then you get the exact same example as with Chainlink, as in between. If this breaks, we probably are going to run all the way towards 23, as there's nothing in between. So that's the case right now. It's all depending on the actual event. I don't know whether it's ending at this point. But it looks a bit different than Chainlink. And if I have to pick one for now, I'd rather pick Chainlink than having Cosmos. But if you want to invest in it, definitely this is the one to go forward with. And as I just said, I'm not unsurprised if we get a retest of levels around 10 to 12 bucks after the event as the hype is going away, just like the ETH merge. When everything started to fall down after the merge has been taking place. And from there, we just climb back up again.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm looking at when I was looking at the Atom chart, the Cosmos chart. We hit our take profit on Lux Algo. We got bearish RSI divergence on the daily chart. If I were to go down to lower time frames, let me see here real quick. I'll see if it gives me anything else. If we got a sell order. Yeah, it's a take profit on the 4-hourly chart on the Lux Algo. But I think you're right. I think that maybe potentially revisiting that $10 level would make a lot of sense after it wouldn't even be a bad thing. I mean, Adams had a great, come on, go away now, Lux Algo. It wouldn't be a bad thing. It's had a great run over the last, couple of months now, it looks like. Ever since back here in June. Yeah, it's had a great run. Cool-offs would not be a problem. I think even what we're talking about here, going back down to $10, yeah, I guess a $10 would end this little uptrend. We were starting to set, we're no longer setting higher lows and higher highs necessarily, but still long-term, fundamentally great project there. Well, hey, Michael, thank you so much, man, for joining the show. If you could say one last thing, I'm going to let you close out your time here. If you could say one thing to our entire audience, what would that be?
Be skeptical, be critical, follow your own path, stay critical and start building. Right now is the time to build. Right now is the time to make your portfolio ready. and to investigate financial markets. So keep on moving.
Boom. Come on. If you guys do not already follow him on Twitter and YouTube, make sure you do that right now. As soon as the video is over, make sure to go follow him. He is phenomenal. Again, one of the people that I learned a whole lot of technical analysis from. So anytime I get to hear his voice, I take it very seriously. I can't wait to get him back on the show. Michael, thank you so much, man. I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much for having me. All the best with the show, man.
Thank you, man. Good stuff. T-Shirt, what are your thoughts about all of that?
Well, it's a bit of a contrast. He has a different perspective than Data Dash does. You know, he's kind of, I'd say, more bullish. I think he's making more bullish arguments. We had Data Dash on, was it last week? And you know, Data Dash, I've been watching a lot of his content, kind of keeping up with him. So I think what you can say is that the market is squarely in a place where people who are extremely intelligent and people who are very experienced are disagreeing, you know. So this is what you could call a decision point, you know, and there's a decent amount of confusion, not a lot of clarity about what could happen going forward. You know, this is the end of Q3 here, folks. So we're going to be getting a ton of data this week. GDP from the U.S., inflation from the EU and the U.S. in the form of PCE in the U.S. And so we're going to be finding out a lot of fresh data. Inflation does not get updated in real time, which is extremely, extremely strange to me, how we have not been able in such an automated age to have live inflation data for the government to act on. But ultimately here, I think that there's a great argument for Bitcoin going up and testing 30. I mean, we're not foreign to that concept, Tim. You've been saying that for a while now. Yeah. But I also, you know, when I listen to Data Dash, I think he makes some really compelling arguments for, you know, going down and testing these lower levels of 15 and 12,000 on Bitcoin. So it's really just going to come down to what the data shows and what the, you know, the overall appetite for the for risk is at the time when we reach these big resistance and support levels to be able to determine whether or not we go up or down. My bias is that we're going to be bullish in the short term because I think that this data will be worse off than what we thought. And then inflation may actually be showing that it's cooling down. So let me just clarify: GDP could come in worse than thought, which gives Jerome Powell a dovish bias. That data print alone, and then inflation could come in lower than expected, showing a cooling, and give Jerome Powell even more dovish bias, which could then have the markets trigger a little buying spree, a little relief rally, and Bitcoin could go test 30,000 like we've said. You know, the SPY could get some relief, and the Dixie could kind of come off of its, like, you know, high temperature you know, rage that it's been on. But you know, overall, I'm really excited to see where the market goes. Got a short-term bull bias, you know, probably into December. And then that's going to more than likely get, you know, come back down. And that's when I think we'll probably test lower. But for now, there's some relief. And you know, it may be a time to kind of sell and move into cash at that point during that relief rally. Definitely something to keep in mind. Obviously not financial advice, just kind of showing you a menu of options. Some of the things that are on my mind, but that's what I'm thinking, Tim. That's what I'm tracking over here at the T-Shroom kiosk.
I love it. You know, Smay wants to wrap the show up.
You know what, Tim? I'm so done with this outro button, and I'm getting rid of it. I'm literally the first thing I'm doing after this show is over.
Yes, me too.
Guys, it's like no matter what I do, something's gonna, like, I didn't even hit the hotkey this time. I was literally just changing the highlight, and then accidentally clicked the outro. Yeah. I'm so done with this outro.
I knew there was something going on.
There was something. Yeah, I saw it for
a
second, and I'm trying. There's a monitor between me and Smay, and I'm trying to make eye contact. You did it yesterday too.
This look. Before you think this is easy peasy back here, the buttons I'm pushing. There are so many buttons back here that it's, you know, you're eventually gonna slip and. I don't trust myself sometimes.
He's basically an astronaut over there, running the International Space Station.
It's true. He does have a lot of buttons, but maybe time to retire that button.
I'm gonna retire that button.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it hurts me more than it hurts you. That's all I'm saying.
You know, what I was going to say though to T-Shroom's take. You know what I'm seeing, T-Shroom? In all the guests that we bring on, and then when you follow other YouTubers, I'm starting to notice a trend, and I'm very curious to see who goes out there. We're kind of a mixture. We do both technical analysis and a lot of sentiment analysis, right? A lot of channels, there are some others just like us that do a lot of both, but a lot of channels kind of lean one way or the other. A lot of channels kind of lean on their technical analysis or they lean on their sentimental analysis. Sentimental analysts are prone to think that we have further to go to the downside. Almost every single one of them I've met and talked with who kind of more rely on sentiment, they are predicting lower bottoms. It's the technical analysts, the guys that lean more on the technical side. Almost all of them, they're looking at the charts and they understand the potential for lower prices, right? They're not ignoring them, but they're the ones saying the bottom is in, and they're talking about these $30,000 prices. I mean, just think about the people we talked about. You know, Michael Van de Poppe. We had Sean come on here. Not Sean, Paul. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. Paul, CVO. We had Kagan, Magic Internet Money. Those are both guys talking about going up. We had Frankie. Last time Frankie Candles was on here, he was talking about going up. Now I know I've seen recently he's prepared himself for a lower one, but you know, every time we have technical analysts come on here, they're looking at charts and showing there's actually a very good argument from a chart perspective that the bottom's in. Now, there are some things on the chart that are still bearish. We're seeing a mixed bag right now. But I think it's curious to continue to watch. This is going to be a big statement. I think it's going to sway a lot of people. Not that sentiment analysis or technical analysis are ever perfect, but it does look like right now there's a potential that we're seeing a big decision point coming. Who is right? Is Bitcoin sitting in a place where we can start trusting the technicals despite whatever's happening in the news, or should we still heavily be taking attention to sentiment? I'm a big believer in paying attention to both. And reasoning it out. I think it's just a curious point to think about. Every technical analyst has been bullish. And even Cale Francis, okay, Cale Francis is another, he does both, right? When he's looking at the charts, you hear him start talking more bullish.
Yeah.
But when he goes into the thought and breaking things down, that's when he starts to sound bearish. So even him, like, he's sitting in this boat where he's wrestling. I mean, you guys have watched the show. We sit here almost every single day wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting in the place of, I still think 17.6 is a strong bottom. I'm preparing myself for lower, but I would call myself more of a technical analyst than a sentimental analyst. So that's probably answers that one as well. It is interesting. We're going to have to continue to monitor that as it goes on. Well, hey, I mean, it's getting late here, but were there any super chats, any chat that we should answer? It's kind of time to engage with our community. Even though we're about to have a community stream, we'll engage with you more over there. Were there any super chats, May?
There was none.
There was none. Okay. That's just completely fine. Completely fine. Were there any good chat you guys saw? I know a lot of people liked having Michael on. Also, we got to get some of these chat people out of here.
I wanted to address a question
some good bots here in
that
chat.
I saw early on, which was T-Shroom, are you going to get called up by the National Guard to go help the hurricane?
Oh, yeah,
First of all,
good question.
we are in Florida. We're in a little college town in Florida, North Florida, so we are very potentially vulnerable to this hurricane. Our actual studio structure, I would say, is without risk. There's not much risk, but we could have power go out, or internet go out. So, just be tracking that. I think we're tracking that probably Thursday would be our peak risk time. So if you don't see us go live, we'll more than likely tweet stuff out.
We'll keep you posted. We should be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think the storm starts to make landfall tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a question about if I'm going to be on the blockchain. I'm going to be prepared to go on the blockchain tomorrow night. Yeah. But if we lose power, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, but everybody's asking me. All my friends are texting me because now they know I joined the Army. I'm in the National Guard, and the National Guard in Florida is famous for getting deployed for these hurricane relief efforts. And so far, I haven't gotten an email. I have been checking my email and my spam just in case the Department of Defense emails goes to my spam for some reason. But I haven't gotten anything yet. I'm not attached to a unit yet, and definitely not an infantry unit. But my friend who's in the Army said that what'll happen is if a unit gets deployed and they need somebody, they'll send me with that unit. So that's kind of the update on T-Shroom. I'd say at this point, it's like a 10% likelihood that I would get called up and be gone for any noticeable amount of time. But the reason that is because I haven't been to AIT yet. And for those of you who are, servicemen and women, you know what that means. But you might be wondering why I haven't gone to AIT. I've gone to basic training, haven't gone to AIT. That is because I'm going to OCS, Officer Candidate School, later on next year. So that's why I haven't gone to AIT. So hopefully that answers the question. I saw that question a couple times, and a bunch of people have been asking me. So probably not, but maybe.
That's a great segue into our announcements here as we wrap up today's stream. First of all, Caleb Franzen Wednesday is tomorrow. Caleb will be joining the show. Do not miss it. It'll be very interesting to get his take on everything happening especially with, I mean, the Dixie's been climbing, the bonds have been climbing, the yields have been climbing, you know, getting him to kind of chime in there, tell us what we need to be watching for. Other things that we've mentioned several times now, but I got to mention it one more time. The membership stream here in about 15 minutes at 11:30. Make sure if you are one of those green names, you do not miss it. If you want to be in it, you can click that join button, become a member today. I think that there's a cheap option, like $4.99. It's not that much per month. You guys can go ahead and join that. It's going to be great. We're going to have our segment today, the second round, an edition of Tim versus weddings. I'm going to wait and let T-Shroom decide what aspect of a wedding I'm going to be going on a nice little rant about. And then the next one, what we talk about. So there's potential that we won't have power, so it won't even be up to us. If we lose power in this hurricane, keep an eye on Thursday and Friday. I'll still have my phone. We will update you guys via social media. We'll make community posts. Keep your eyes on that. But if for some weird reason we do not show up Thursday morning, it is because we lost power. That is, or the storm, like we're literally in the middle of the storm, and I'll make the call. Hey guys, I don't want anyone driving into work. That's too much. We'll let you guys know.
We'll put out tweets and community posts.
Yes.
We'll still have our phones, guys. We'll still have our
Yes,
phones.
yeah, we will keep you guys updated. With that said, though, that is all we have for you in this episode. Again, this was a great. I loved it, start to finish. It had its ups and downs, but that's what makes us special, because it's not about perfection. We are just here to build a great, amazing community to bring you guys every single day the news and the price analysis you need to continue to build your financial sovereignty. #FinSov. If you have not already, make sure, like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single piece of content, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.